We are live. In a sudden change of events, I'm now interviewing Mitch. Well, I guess we are interviewing Mitch. Just the seats make it look like I'm the host now.
It's a threesome.
And Mitch is part of the camera crew. I don't know what title you would call your establishment.
What do you, as far as the service or the
Yes, videographers,
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're a Midwest group of videographers, and I've been working very intensely with them for a couple years now. Nathaniel has too, on a couple projects, music-wise, and recently this podcast. And so we're here to just kind of pick his brain on a couple of the past things and future things coming up.
Lobotomize me.
Lobotomize. You know what that rhymes with? Sodomize. And the bottom line, dropping dimes freestyle all the time. So where are we going to start? Where did we start?
First time we met was the Cypher. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was kind of a similar situation where like half of the people ended up quitting last minute and wasn't even going to perform, but you and him filled in. And I just remember first time meeting you, basically went into your car and rolled a blunt, and for 5 minutes you just like in your head worked out, jammed the beat, and just wrote it right there.
Yeah.
And genuinely, at least in my opinion, you were one of the best of the four people there.
Thank you. Yeah, and flew the drone that day too.
Yeah.
That was so crazy, dude. People canceled, and then had to fly my drone up, aim it down, and then we went up and then I had to run and do my verse that I just wrote, and that was horrible.
What about us? How did we meet?
Same situation, I believe, where it was the 11/11 video. We worked on that, workshopped it, and then we came out here, shot in this very house.
People have agendas, people don't have your best interests in mind, and things can get real ugly, and especially in like the art type industry of things, the music industry, but art in general, a lot of it's intellectually based to where people can steal your concepts or people can do you dirty in ways that you really can't do in every industry. Like this is a unique industry to where it's on the forefront, especially with social media and everything else, to where like people can do some shady ass business moves and practices towards you, take advantage of you more easily through this business, I feel.
And you can't do anything about it.
No. I'll tell you what though, aside from all that stuff, I've always respected about you guys, Goof Off, the fact that you guys have had good music taste and legible of like knowing someone's music ear and like their taste. I judge it. Like I judge a person's character or anything based on like their music taste, and like the fact that you guys are into Legible's music, like I can tell you guys are dope fucking people.
I feel like we vibe more on a cinema level at first, though.
Yeah, especially with Ghost Mode, that's kind of what linked it at first. It was kind of kindred spirit, I would say, in a way where really without totally getting into his vision, I think we both kind of came at it with the same approach of just a horror, stingy kind of vibe or something like that. But yeah, I've always felt my philosophy with music videos and stuff like that is I can make better art when I enjoy the art, you know what I mean? So as long as the music is something that I really enjoy, it's pretty easy to come up with some sort of concept or a video for it. It just kind of makes itself, Duffel, for example, stuff like that. So
that one was crazy. I'm very glad we got to make a video to a storytelling piece. Like where the narrative is actually just the song. It's so cool.
Exactly.
That was crazy. Definitely I love that, dude.
So far,
got to film animals in it too and shit too. Like that was unique.
Snake.
Yeah, that was cool. That was Shout out Ace the Snake, dude.
What did you learn about? What did you guys learn as a crew? Maybe synchronistically or just in general, like putting that video together, like differently from past videos. Like, did you feel like you guys maybe upped your game on like angles, or maybe like got better at maybe cool edits, or what was different about that process?
Yeah, it was definitely still, not that we're 10 years in or something like that, but that was still kind of the beginning years for us. So Ghost Mode specifically just felt like a really creative outlet where I could actually try and be aspiracious with certain things, to where before it was kind of Nothing against the talent. They were all pretty cool. But it was very much point and shoot. You know what I mean? You'd pull up, see a couple locations, and there wasn't much concept to it at all. And nothing wrong against that. There's always going to be those videos. But it really was an opportunity, and Zach was down with it, and he was really supportive of the vision that was kind of a hybrid. So yeah, it was just a cool new experience to choreograph things, kind of new for me of really trying to direct and give notes of what I can and kind of where I'm going to be moving with the camera, that type of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think we kind of learned together in that sense of how best I can give notes to him to work on stuff, and then kind of vice versa for me of what little things I can say so that he kind of understands it better when the cameras are rolling.
And it worked, dude.
Yeah.
It worked beautifully. You've actually like helped me, because now obviously I've kind of dabbled in videos myself lately.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've always kind of edited videos, but like lately I've been trying to shoot my own a little bit.
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys taught me like everything about
You're
like
doing it.
what works, what like certain things like the terminology too.
Yeah.
Now like
I mean, and again, like at the beginning, we would literally call everything a pan. You know what I mean? Just camera movement wise, you'd tilt up and it was like, yeah, we're going to pan up.
I'm doing up pan.
Yeah, we'd crash zoom in and it was a pan in on them. So, you know, it was all stuff where like I felt semi-responsible where I'm running around saying the wrong terminology. And then I hear like 3 other dudes say it and I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. It's cool. We got to learn together though, like
Yeah.
a lot. Like throughout the videos, like you can just see the step up just from Ghost Mode to the album trailer to this. We've done some in 3 like projects. We've done some crazy shit, low key, that I've never seen anyone like locally even like attempt.
Those promos were really fun.
That was fun.
We went out to, what was it, Mason City?
I wasn't even thinking about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
For,
the watch yourself thing and for Elevate.
Exactly. We did a bunch of
the multiple in one shot.
Masks, all that stuff. So that was really fun. I really
drone.
Didn't have much experience in Premiere doing stuff like that, so that was all really cool to finally get my hands into. And again, Zach's just always been, let's go for it, let's do it. You know what I mean? This man jumped in a river or a lake for one shot.
Bro, I think that gave me chlamydia.
For real?
Yeah, bro. I don't know. Like, it doesn't work out any other way. Like, after that shit happened, I don't know, dude. Like, I got in that water and, like, things...
We'll be right back. I got a question.
bad,
I got a question for Mitch here.
Man, I was sick.
Is Legible one of the most, like, consistent collaborations that you find yourself doing as a collaborative?
I mean, yeah, I think the work kind of speaks for itself. Besides the 2 music videos, he's by far the most we've done promo with and stuff like that. And I genuinely, not to fucking sound, but I really do enjoy working with Zach. I fuck with his music a lot. So, it's just easy. It's symbiotic. And every time he's just super open to talking about ideas and let's try this and maybe we, work that out in a different way. But yeah, it all falls together really easily.
Thank you, buddy.
Of course, man.
It's reciprocal.
Yeah.
Always has been. That shit's crazy. And I probably shouldn't say it on here, but I had a video idea for Surrender, finally. That second video in the pack, I finally got it done, conceptualized everything.
Yeah.
It's going to be 3 times as ambitious as fucking anything else,
Let's
bro.
do it.
Like, we gotta keep stepping it up. Green screens, fucking, that's the one thing I haven't touched yet is a green screen.
Yeah.
And I think that would be really cool here too, is to start doing content with a green screen behind the podcast and then therapy gecko it a little bit where it's like just like a sky scene or something in the background or just midgets wrestling or something. Little people wrestling. Sorry.
How dare
PC
you.
culture.
Where do you guys see yourself going as a collaborative? Like, what are some of your visions for, like, where you're going to take this thing?
I mean, as far as music videos, I'd like to branch out into some different genres. We've pretty much exclusively done hip hop and rap so far, so it would be fun to try, rock or literally any genre. I'm not. Despite my personal taste in music, I don't discriminate against that as far as we're open to any kind of service like that. But on our own stuff, we're looking to do shorts, film shorts, skits, stuff like that. That's the goal. Again, I'd like to branch a little bit more into making our own content rather than a service. Not that would be excluded or anything like that. But yeah, I have a lot of ideas that I want to do.
Are we getting a All Is Goof Off album coming soon?
Yeah, it'll be terrible.
It'll be terrible. No, I feel like it'd be good.
I
If
mean,
you did a similar approach, I feel like it'd be kind of crazy.
the only stuff that I'd be interested in, and I guess it fits with the goof off narrative, would be just fun, just making joke stuff, never taking it seriously.
That's where the name came from, huh?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was just kind of found itself. I really didn't come up with it. It was, I think, Colby back in Hawkeye.
How high were you? Obliterated?
Every day.
Throwing names back and forth, and it just fucking
Really?
it sounds kind of good, but I don't know. Let's just keep.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it really fits the vibe. It works. I think it's catchy. The only buddy we competing with is like anti-adhesive.
Yeah.
So, like, that's
Really?
yeah.
It's called
There's
Goof Off
something goof
spray.
off. So that's where it's like we're collaborative.
You got to collab with Goof Off.
Yeah,
The
that's the
adhesive, dude.
That's the
Oh,
goal.
man, that's so
I
funny.
hope.
There's gonna be one person out there looking for that spray, like, and they're just gonna find like the
You're gonna
hardest
take-
rap music video in their life. Can you talk about like the makeup of the crew and like kind of when everyone jumped on board and like how the collaborative came together?
Yeah. So I mean, all three members, we all grew up in the same hometown. I've known Cam since we were little. We were just, grew up together kids. Colby was around middle school in DeWitt, and ever since then, we've just enjoyed it. In high school, we always talked less about music videos, but it was always about, kind of the stereotypical content house, stuff like that. We thought as soon as we moved to CF, we were going to be TikTok brothers or whatever. But yeah, I mean, really, it started out in Hawkeye, and then Cam was in Ankeny for a couple years. And once he was done there, he moved in with us, and it's just been the crew, the tripod.
The tripod.
that.
Yeah.
The tripod. That's crazy. You should copyright that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a good name.
I like it a lot. Again, I think it does take some convincing, and the whole point of it was meant to be ironic a little bit. I consider ourselves professional amateurs, to the sense where we are goof-offs, but we get the job done. That's our goal.
I mean, so like the name Goof Off, right? Like obviously it's not like overly serious, but like you said, it has a ring to it. And like I work in construction, so I see it all the time. There's a fan brand called Big Ass Fans.
Oh, for real?
That's like the biggest supplier of industrial fans in the
Yeah.
world. Their name is Big Ass Fans, and they get taken seriously.
Yeah,
So if they can do it,
I've always felt, I really enjoy the name, but I've always felt that it's kind of, you don't understand it until you see it type of thing. So that in that work, it's kind of on us to put it in your eyes and to make sense of it for you. But yeah, I mean, so we're playing around with that. But like I said, Goof Off is not really going anywhere. That's kind of going to more lean our personal stuff, the content that we want to create as a unit rather than a service that we're doing. So that's going to kind of be the differentiate. But it'll all be the same. Same crew, same stuff, same product.
yeah. Hell yeah, bro. You guys have really good heads on your shoulders, and just
Thank you.
obviously like the taste speaks for itself too. And it's just, I don't know. I'm very excited to see you guys dabble into some solo content
Thank
because that's the next logical step.
Yeah, we're
Is-
excited for it. And to be honest, it does feel like it's been a long time coming. That's what we wanted to do originally. So I've always just been trying to play with skits and stuff like that. I do have a little bit of edgier humor, so it's trying to tame it down, stuff like that, where less of opinions, more funny. I just want it to be funny. That's my whole point. Not so much in the short films, but that's a lot more intentional, a lot more stylistic. That's where I'm trying to flex the director muscle and visualize as much as possible. But other than that, it is just goofing around. That's what we want to do. So.
Any specific projects coming up, like name-wise, you can give out? And
I mean, working titles are still coming around, but we're working on Shit Skits. That's kind of the working name right now for what we're going to be doing. I don't I don't love talking about stuff without having something to show for it, so I won't speak too much on shorts and stuff like that. But the main goal right now is a horror short. That's the plan.
Damn.
So,
How long? How long is a short?
right now, my whole goal is just lean and mean. Again, I'm perfectionist, and I do get pretty aspirations. So I talked to you about the one idea a while ago, and I really enjoy that idea. So I don't want to cheap out on it. I don't want to cut corners just to get it done with basically a zero budget or anything that's out of pocket for us. So my whole goal is like simple 5-minute, horror short that really is something that obviously works on its own, but if anybody's interested, that it can be expanded upon or made into a feature film or something like that. That's always kind of the goal, is to make it just a piece of a meal that somebody could order later.
So I got like a top 5 rappers. Who's your top 5
Of what,
directors? Anyone in the industry?
That'd be tough. I got to just give love to where it's at. Quentin Tarantino, as
5.
a young one, he's always been that way. Martin Scorsese,
4.
I think he's a genius. Let's go through them.
Ari Aster?
Yeah, I do dig him. I enjoy his work and nothing against him. I don't know if I'd put him at top 5 with 3 features out of his own just yet. He's up there, that's for sure.
Jordan Peele's doing some interesting stuff.
Yeah, I enjoy him a lot. Trying to think, there's another guy. This is going to sound like fucking fake old head, but Akira Kurosawa. I've really been enjoying those old black and white movies of samurai movies. Those are fucking awesome.
Can't say I've seen them.
If you've ever, like Star Wars, if you've ever enjoyed that in like the original trilogy, if you watch old Kurosawa movies, that's literally Star Wars. It's got screen wipes, everything little. The original Star Wars: A New Hope is basically like Hidden Fortress.
Damn.
Yeah.
Why do you like it? Because of how it's shot, or what's drawing you to that show?
I guess, the history. I watch a lot of YouTube about film and stuff like that, so that's kind of always what sparks my interest into stuff. Not that they despise film or anything like that, but I would kind of say I'm a little bit of the black sheep of the family as far as film, where that's just all I care about pretty much is film, TV, media, stuff like that. I just love stories, so that's where it all comes down to. As far as like Kurosawa stuff, I just love... to be honest, Japanese culture. I think samurais are fucking sick. So all that shit, the history of ronins and soldiers after war that are kind of just roaming the land aimlessly, kind of open for work. All that stuff is really interesting, and it's not it's not specific just to that. I do enjoy. I'll be very high when I do it, but I really do enjoy watching old films and just breaking down shots, thinking about what they were using back then.
Fuck yeah.
These things were made in like the 50s, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they still hold up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And still to this day, like in my opinion, some of the best like sword
Shots? Choreography.
Yeah. And also shots. Today's cinema loves very stylistic stuff, and if it's not stylistic, it's like shaky cam type of stuff. He just chooses to keep the shot wide so you actually see what's happening instead of like a whole bunch of stuff just in your face. And
Marvel fight scene.
Yeah, there are some that are good, and there you can do shaky cam well, but some people just cheap out on it, and it's really just because your actors or your stunt people can't do their job a little bit, so you're kind of cutting corners to make it seem right, but it's really just like nauseating.
Do you think Marvel will have a comeback?
To be honest,
do you think they even fell off? This
yes,
should be the first question.
I think they did. I think their formula is killing them. And at this point, they just don't let filmmakers work alone. It's literally just the studio over their shoulder.
Monopoly.
Saying, where it's just like, well, we have 10 films online that nobody really asked for, and you need to set up 5 of them in this movie while also introducing a character that an audience has never met before and make them care about them.
I want to watch Agatha Heart of Darkness. What do you mean? That was on the top of my docket, dude.
They don't have enough creative freedom. So man, I mean, we talked a little bit about how like part of what makes you guys dope is like your curation of the artists that you guys choose to work with, but it's also, you know, part of the job is obviously like, you know, showing up on time, this and that, and you guys have always been professional in those capacities. What would you have to like say if you were to recommend if someone's trying to like someday be in your shoes in a respect of like they want to do what you do, like do you have any advice for someone like coming up to try and like do what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I don't love speaking like I've accomplished so much. I'm a 23-year-old guy.
Yeah.
Living.
You're only
with his
23?
buddies.
I thought you were older than by like 2 years.
Nope.
Same age.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What are you, 2000?
Mm-hmm.
Year of the Dragon.
You're
You guys are
1999.
babies. I'm
You're
20.
99 or
I just
01?
turned 26, baby. Yeah.
2000.
Damn.
Year of the Dragon.
You're in
baby.
there. You're in there.
Yeah. But other than that, I would say just make stuff. That's all it is. It's tough to get me in the seat, especially when it comes to that personal stuff. Like I said, I think most of my advice is going to be stuff I've heard from other people. To be honest, that's what I live by.
What's the advice that resonates with you though?
I think I saw on a Joe Rogan podcast, Robert Downey Jr. talking about just get out of your own way. I think that's the biggest thing is you hold yourself back. I know myself. I'm always going to be my biggest critic. So, yeah, I mean, even if you hate it, do what you can in the moment and just get it out. Just put something out. It doesn't have to be your magnum opus. It doesn't have to be the thing that's going to put you on the map. Because I genuinely think if every video you think that's going to be the thing that breaks the ice and get eyes on you, you're doing yourself a disservice and just should make content in general. Just should make what you want to do. And of course, I'd love to be a household name or something like that as a director. I think that's every young filmmaker's dream. But really, it's just like the way I analyze and study film, all I want is for somebody else to do that for me. That's really all I care about. So yeah, just find what you enjoy.
You want to be studied.
Yeah.
I feel that too.
I mean, maybe that's a little ego.
You got to have it.
Yeah. I just think I've grown up all of my life where I've known me. It's just always been daydream ideas. So I feel like I got to get them out and see if they're worth $1 or whatever. You know what I
Thanks,
mean?
dude.
Kind of staying on that point of like your advice for people trying to be like you someday if they choose to be like the collaborative aspect. He's not a good role model, guys. Don't be an artist. But the collaborative aspect. I mean, obviously you currently have collaborative in the name. Like, there's a lot of collaborative component as it relates to what you do, whether it's with other artists, the crew itself that you've kind of accumulated and curated of your own friends that you choose to build with. So can you talk about that collaborative process and like how you explore that realm?
Yeah. I mean, the collaborative in the name itself is kind of a double entendre, excuse me. Pretty much collaborative was collaborative with the talent. I like to pride myself on not shutting down ideas immediately. I want to hear if they have merit and they stick and they fit with the vision, because it is a collaborative vision. But also in the sense there's 3 of us, and I don't, as much as I am a perfectionist, I don't want to just be the shot hog and kind of keep everything as my content. I want it to be a group. I want it to feel like a joint effort in that sense. But also it's just very necessary. Eventually, specifically with films and stuff like that, you could spend all this time writing and working on your baby, but eventually you will have to hand it over to an actor or a producer or something like that, and kind of have to have it, the bravery to let it kind of get weathered out in the world and see if it'll stick, because that's the only way you really know. If you keep it in a cave and just kind of hoard it, it's like a bird that never leaves the nest, you know.
When did you first realize that you had the videographer kind of tendency within you?
I mean, just in general, I've always wanted to do stuff. I just, to be honest, didn't have much of the balls. I would say, like, growing up, I was just very much kind of like a closeted creative. You know what I mean? I would just kind of hoard it. Because also, and not totally speaking on, this would kind of go into the advice piece. Growing up, it was, you know, I wasn't a huge sports head or anything like that. And I didn't have much desire to act, but like part of the theater stuff did interest me, but also I didn't want to be in that group, you know, so that kind of scared me from it in a bit. You didn't want to, yeah. And nothing against them, but
you didn't want them to touch your butt.
Yeah.
Touch your wiener.
I mean, you know,
Also,
he didn't say that.
It depends. It depends. And I'm not saying that the school system needs to change in any sense of the word, but like, I know personally, if it was less to be or not to be, and like dressing up as a tree or like Little Mermaid sings, I probably would have gotten into it. I like serious stuff. I like more mature stuff. I'm not a singer. That's not what I do. So that was never, you know. But there's something. I mean, I think this goes for most filmmakers to where as you're very young, I think it's a transition from, let's stay with Star Wars, where you want to be Obi-Wan Kenobi or whatever, and then you grow up and you realize there's a guy whose job was to play Obi-Wan Kenobi, so you kind of want to be an actor then. And then as you grow up, you start learning about George Lucas and who directed it, and kind of you learn about these people with these visions that they committed to, and they made something of it out of nothing, really, out of an imaginary daydream. And that's where I kind of figured it out. Again, it was closeted for a good while. I really didn't speak about it with my family because it was more about, and nothing against them, they're from a different generation where it's about stability and financial stability and stuff like that. My dad didn't come from a lot of money, so I think he just cared about keeping me on a right track to be able to support a family eventually and stuff like that. But really all I cared about was my daydreams. So that's kind of what pushed me into it.
It's kind of cool that, like, you're like a living embodiment of the fact that, like, you don't have to be the theater kid to still end up being a videographer or something. Like, you didn't necessarily go a traditional route and like, it's kind of like me too, you know, I'm a podcaster, let's say, or something, but I didn't go to podcast school or some shit. Like, you can do these things, you can make these transitions later in life. You said you're 23? Mm-hmm. And when did you fully start taking this in a serious capacity? Was it like when you first started going to college for it?
So no, I didn't go to college for it. That's probably my first mistake. So again, I was closeted for a good while of creative stuff, to where right out of high school, me and Colby were going to Hawkeye Community College. I should have done his major, but I did not because I was more concerned about pleasing my dad. And again, I don't blame him on that.
Right. It's just kind of like, in retrospect, it's all different.
Yeah.
Right.
In fact, I find it more on me, where I should have had the courage to choose it immediately instead of.
I feel like that's a mature response to that, and I've had similar like feelings of like with college of like, did I really need to do that?
Yeah.
Did I really need to go? Did I really need to go for that major? If I did go, so I mean, the art school has this like connotation to it, though. You know what I mean? Like, so like when you're first like thinking about that idea, let's say, and if you go to like, I don't know about you guys, but I went to like kind of an academic high school.
Yeah.
Like, they would not float the idea around at you about, they would laugh art school off at you.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say art school is great because, like, you know, maybe you go only if, like, you want access to the resources and networking opportunities that might provide you. But something like videography school, where it's a lot more hands-on and a skill set that you can actually apply directly after you're out. Yeah. And like you said, if you already, like, know deeply within yourself that that's what brings you, like, that's what energizes you, then it's just like, you know, I think your story is inspiring in that respect of, like, there's a lot of up-and-coming wannabe videographers that are right now in other majors because of, I guess what you could call it, the realistic path.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I mean, that was my choice right out of high school, going to Hawkeye. I actually was doing, like, basically a liberal arts for a little while, just doing bullshit. And I don't want to sound like fucking...
like bitter.
Yeah, not... I feel like it's very common at young age to, like, just start shitting on college and just be like, shh, it's fucking bullshit, whatever, But really, I wasn't in a good headspace at the time to be dedicated to something like that. And also, it was kind of the first time in my life, and I'd imagine for a lot of people, where it was just 100% freedom. I didn't have to go home and certain stuff. Everything was on my time, what I chose to do, and I chose to skip class quite a bit. Because mainly I wasn't dedicated to it, and also I just had it was bullshit classes. It was all stuff that I really just didn't care about. And again, in retrospect, that's on me. I should have chosen a major to where I was actually passionate about. And I guess there was a sense of arrogance to it, of the usual, like, fucking, when am I going to use the Pythagorean theorem? Fuck all that.
I use it daily.
Really?
I do.
But no, for real, man, though, like, thank you for sharing that shit, though, because, like, I think a lot of people will benefit from hearing that kind of story. And
that'd be another piece of advice, is just, like, if I could, I would have taken time off. I would have saved the money and at least for a year really thought about, like, what makes you happy. I'm not saying, for 5 years, don't even think about college or something, but really, I think it's just too common to throw college out at young kids and expect them to choose what they're going to do for the next 30 years of their life after getting out of a structure that again, maybe it's just subjective, but for me, coming out of high school, it was a whole new world. I felt like a fucking super freshman in the whole world. Like, I just didn't understand it. Everything was different. So I would say just take time to get a grasp and realize that all the shit and all the plans that you had in high school, unless that's what you're going to do for the rest of your life, some of them are going to end up getting thrown out the window. I switched my major once at Hawkeye because I figured my back burner plan was going to be personal training. So
really?
I was going to try to do entrepreneur type of business degree with an associate's at Hawkeye. That didn't go through. And then once I dropped out of Hawkeye, I tried to do like I forget the name of it now. It's like NAACP. That may be the wrong thing. Might have been ACE. But there's personal training certificates. That was my thing. My dad was just like, you need a shingle on the wall. You need something to show that you're qualified.
When was like that? Was there like a snap your fingers kind of moment, or like a moment where you're like, fuck this, I'm going to chase the unrealistic path?
Yeah, I mean, there was basically just a time when it was like, it was half semester after my first year. And it was just like, I'd been flunking a bunch of classes. I was having to retake shit that I didn't pass the first year. And it was just like, am I really going to waste another semester of money on this when I know I'm not going to follow through? So I booted it out. And for the last half of the year, I just tried to focus on other things, what made me happy, passionate, stuff like that. And
Everything's delusional until it's successful.
Exactly.
I'm sure you saw the same clip as me. I don't know who said that, but like it's totally true. You're only crazy until it works.
Yep.
And then it's nothing but support.
Kind of just finishing up on that, though. I mean, I have a friend that recently like went back to college. He did like a philosophy major, and now he's going back just for videography school. You guys met him at that last shoot with Scumbag.
Oh, okay.
But from his experience, he's in this kind of new, fresh classroom situation with all these like younger kids fresh out of high school, and he says he can like see so clearly in them how they're just like so kind of impressionable and still so young and like seeing the world so newly, and they're not confident in themselves at all. Like it's just too early to like, they're just all moving too quickly. And like, I guess there was like this question he was saying where they like asked the room like, why do you want to be a videographer? And they like asked everyone there, and like he was saying like some of the people's answers were just like not full fledged to like they barely thought about it, you know? And then I think sometimes what happens is once you're already like halfway in, you're just like, well, I might as well like finish it now. I'm already this far in. And it's like, damn, like, it's like, no, you can switch things up. No, you can do major life redirects. Like, it's better than like a fucking midlife crisis and doing it like 20 years later.
Yeah. And obviously it depends on the school, but they're always going to take your money. They're always going to accept you pretty much, unless it's some crazy Ivy League school. You can always go back and do stuff. And likewise, I'm not saying I'm finished with post-high school education. There's definitely stuff I'd still like to learn. But genuinely, most of the stuff that I really am passionate about, I've learned quite a bit on YouTube. I think most people can empathize with that and have found a different kind of avenue with the excess of information.
For me, the biggest emphasis on this conversation isn't necessarily like fuck college. It's think about like thoroughly when to do college and when you're ready for college. Like take that year. That's all we're saying essentially is just take a year, and so you can really just kind of think about it a lot more and like be certain in what you're, and just taste the world, taste what it has to offer a little bit, try some experiences and see what actually makes you want to get out of fucking bed. Because like
Fresh out of high school, you'll never know.
that's just not working.
You'll never know.
If you're just doing something that you like, you're like, well, this is like, I'm not passionate about it, but maybe I'm good at it, and I'm just doing it because I'm good at it. Or maybe I'm not passionate about it, but it'll pay the bills. Like, try and find that sweet spot. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but like where you're passionate about it and it pays the bills.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the kind of unfortunate thing, I think, is like the balance of finding a job that is fulfilling while also is able to pay your bills and support everything is really going to be a privilege if you luck out and get that. That, you know, it's unfortunate, but not everybody is going to make it to that hill. So I do think, not to say that it's not something to strive for, but you're always going to have to make compromise in what you're going to do. It's not always going to be exactly how you imagined it. So yeah, I would say just be ready for that compromise. Be ready to get the wins when you can and figure out which hill you want to die on.
A win is a win.
Questions?
I just wanted to say that if you were a tree, you played a damn good tree.
Oh, thank you.
And I bet you were a sequoia.
Thank you. I'm more of an oak type of guy.
On that note,
whoever put that seed in that dirt did a damn good job planting you.
I'd plant my seed in you.
Hey, yo.
Okay, stop the fucking... Jesus.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I always resort to that. That was good, though.
Yeah.